Sports rehab experts, what's going on? Today we're going to be talking about reasons why, 7 reasons in fact, why clinicians often miss the mark or miss the target when trying to prescribe exercises, prescribe treatments for somebody dealing with any type of pain, problem, or goal that they may have. That could be knee pain, shoulder pain, any type of pain the individual is experiencing that is preventing them from doing something they love, such as running, playing basketball, throwing cornhole, tossing shoes with the friends, or just simply losing some weight. Reasons why prescription and exercise plan of cares given from a clinician to a patient, why they often miss their mark, and why the individual remains stuck in dealing with this issue for a longer period of time than necessary, oftentimes leading to months, years of problems that the individual often gets frustrated with dealing, and ultimately, to a certain extent, starts to lose faith, hope that this issue could ever be resolved in the first place. And where my opinion stands as far as what clinicians do wrong is they focus on that external goal that the individual has. We need to know the outcome that the individual wants. Don't get me wrong here. What the individual wants to ultimately achieve is the number one goal and your number one priority as a clinician. But the fact of the matter is that target is too far away and that target is too small to be shooting at right now. We need to do a better job of taking aim, and if that target is too far away or is too small to be shooting at where we cannot hit it, we need to find a way to get closer to the target or make that target bigger. And ultimately that comes down to recognizing what you can do as a clinician and as a coach to impact this individual in a positive manner, to start moving them towards the outcome heading in the right direction. We need to find targets that are hittable and ultimately make that target bigger or nearer so that we can create success, create momentum in our plan of care and in our treatments. So when I'm working with any type of client, number one, yes, I'm trying to find and figure out their end goal, where they want to end up being, but then secondary to that, I'm trying to figure out where I can move to make that target closer or make that target larger. And ultimately, I found that comes back down to 7 type of trainable qualities that you can impact as a clinician, as a coach. And these are the 7 qualities that you have to have in the back of your mind. You have to know the ins and outs of these qualities if you're going to select which of them is going to be most beneficial for your client. I talk about this all the time as far as creating a player profile with the patient who is in front of you. I talk about this through the courses that I teach in Sports Rehab Expert. The 7 qualities, these are the 7 trainable qualities that you can have an impact with your patient day one and ultimately move that target closer or make that target larger, which allows you to hit a target, creates a sustainable momentum moving forward, and keep continuing to build off of that. So those 7 qualities are: number 1, the cardiovascular system. Number 2, it's the respiratory system. Most people make the mistake of combining the cardiovascular and the respiratory system, but there's certain qualities to the respiratory system that is separate from the cardiovascular system, which you can train, which has to do with respiration efficiency and the biomechanics that are involved with respiration. Respiration is a very overlooked quality, in my opinion, with a lot of different clinicians, and it's also integrated into the treatment plan of care poorly in a lot of different clinicians too. They have exercises that are respiration or respiratory variability exercises, then we have strength exercises, then we have capacity building exercises. There's all this separation that occurs within the plan of care, and it's more time consuming than what it actually needs to be. So keep that in mind as you need to learn more about respiration so that you can effectively hit this target if this target is indeed the target that matters. So that's number 2 is respiration. Number 3 is motor learning. What's the individual's coordination like? How well can they pick up on different movement patterns? How many different movement patterns can this individual display? Different things to think about as far as motor learning is concerned. Number 4 is tissue capacity. What's the resiliency of that tissue? Number 5, we're all familiar with this one, it's strength. Now we're all familiar with this one, but There's a lot of problems with integrating strength that I see people glaze over. Number one is it's not about just loading a tissue or getting somebody stronger. You can't go wrong with getting strong. You'll hear that phrase thrown over and over again. But to a certain point in time, what is strong enough? I treat a lot of people who are just, next level strength, deadlifting 500 pounds, squatting 400 pounds, they can bench press 300 pounds. These people still end up in pain too. Strength isn't the only quality that matters when you're trying to get somebody out of pain. So how strong is strong enough? And are there other tissues that are being neglected? Furthermore, what's the motor learning, coordination, biomechanics and position of the joints tissue when they are being loaded? These things all matter, and it's not just about strength. Strength is certainly important, just as building tissue capacity is important, but again, it's not the only thing, which is why we have 7 different qualities that we're focusing in on. Number 6 is gait. This has to do with reciprocal and alternating activity. Most people think of gait as walking, which it is, but many joints and areas of the body need to display the act and the ability to reciprocate and alternate back and forth. Turn your head left and right, side bend left and right. Rotate your shoulder, internal, external. Rotate your torso, left, right. Pronation, supination. Back and forth, full spectrum of movement. Can you alternate from one side of the spectrum to the other and not have a narrowed spectrum of movement that limits your movement options? The final quality, number 7, is the sensory system. What's the individual's proprioception? A lot of this has to go back to the hands and feet. Visual, vestibular, this can all be just as important too. And to a certain extent, if you're going to introduce manual therapy or applying a sensory stimulus to an area to create some type of change, that more than likely is temporary. You need to work on some of these other 6 qualities that we talked about to create some sustainable results, but manual therapy can be a sensory input to elicit an outcome, and sometimes that might be the nearest target for you to hit at this current point in time. But again, we need to have a full player profile of the individual to know which target is going to be the most obtainable, the most achievable, but also lead us towards the path that the individual ultimately wants to create, the end goal in mind, which target's going to take us there in the most efficient manner. Now, number 8, I also just want to kind of throw out a bonus trainable quality as well too. This one's a little bit different than something physical because it's the mental and the mindset state of mind of that person trying to overcome the issue. This is very important if you're going to start changing false beliefs, changing current beliefs that just might not necessarily be true, or get this individual into a positive routine or habit forming traits that are ultimately going to create a snowball effect and create more momentum in your plan of care and your treatment. This stuff is not changed right away. Oftentimes it is not the nearest target, but it is a target nonetheless that you will occasionally want to keep coming back to and keep dialing in, keep scoping in your site and seeing if at a certain moment in time that might be the target that you need to be shooting at to make the most change in this individual. So keep that in mind as well too, that number 8, that bonus quality there. Now, when we talk about putting this all together, again, I mentioned how what the individual wants to ultimately happen at the end of this, which is get out of pain, get back to doing what they love, that target oftentimes is too far out into the distance. So we need to find a closer target that is larger and bigger and capable of us to hit so that we can gain some momentum, create that snowball effect, and get us to move forward in a positive direction. So these 7, technically 8 qualities are the things that we're going to be shooting at. Now, there may be certain targets that the individual is already hit. And I mentioned that before when we were talking about strength. A lot of times people are strong enough. A lot of times people are coordinated enough. A lot of times people have enough capacity. We have to see what targets those individuals have already hit and just kind of check that one off. It's okay to still keep practicing that target, keep shooting at that target occasionally to build efficiency, but we just need to optimize our ability to hit that target from time to time. We don't need to spend all our time practicing at hitting that target. We need to spend all our time at other targets that have not been hit yet, building our ability to hit those targets in a reliable fashion over and over again, and start building those qualities up so that the individual is more robust. Again, we start moving in the correct direction to take us towards that end outcome that the person wants. Where it becomes really dialed in as you as a clinician becomes when you can pick one of those targets and know exactly what target is the most important target to hit. That makes a lot of the other targets next to irrelevant. It's because it's going to be the biggest domino to fall and start creating a chain reaction that once you improve this target, everything else actually starts to improve too, and your ability to hit all these different targets actually improves just by hitting this one simple target. So that's where you become very, very good at what you're doing. But it takes reps to get there as a clinician, and it takes an extreme and vast understanding of these 7, technically 8 qualities in order to make improvements in your patients so that they can continually and reliably hit these targets, and have a system in the back of your head as a clinician of how to take a person from point A to point B, reliably going through a process so that they can keep moving forward on to the next target and ultimately lead to their end goal of getting back to doing what they love and getting out of pain. Which is why you as a clinician needs to be really honed in on how to achieve these targets, how to hit these targets, and create a sustainable process to hit that target, no matter the individual who's in front of you, whether that's a high school athlete or a 70-year-old grandmother who just would like to bend over and pick up the groceries again. You have to have a process to hit all of these 7 trainable quality targets in a variety of different individuals. So searching around on Instagram for the next best exercise, trying to add more tools to your toolkit are not going to do you any good until you have a solid foundational understanding of these 7 qualities. And even then after that, it's all about creating systems and processes to be able to hit the target. So to a certain extent, adding more things to do isn't necessarily always better. A lot of times it's about getting more refined and how can you efficiently hit this target repeatedly, reliably, over and over again, no matter what type of client walks through your door, no matter what type of goal that client has, or what type of current physical capabilities that client is currently displaying. Hey, thanks for watching. Hope you got a lot out of the information in today's video. If you like this type of content, if you could do us a huge favor by liking the channel, subscribing to the channel, and hit that alert button so you get notified when any new videos come out your way. Also, if you're a rehab clinician looking to take your clinical skill knowledge to the next level and seeing how you can better help your patients, visit sportsrehabexpert.com, where we got a lot more information that can help you along the way, as well as our certified sports rehab expert course. This is 2 courses that give you a sports rehab residency or an orthopedic fellowship type education in half the time at a fraction of the cost. So visit sportsrehabexpert.com to check out these 2 courses. We have the Human Assessment Mastery course and the Full Body Treatment Domination course. And finally, maybe you aren't a rehab clinician watching this video. Maybe you're someone just looking to keep an active, healthy, mobile, athletic lifestyle without painkillers and frequent visits to the doctor's office. If you're located in Ann Arbor, Michigan, you're in luck. Just visit annarbor.physio and you can set up your appointment today. If you're not from around the Ann Arbor or the Michigan area, no worries. We do a lot of online video consultation services from people all over the globe as well too. So you can reach us at annarbor.physio or at sportsrehabexpert.com, and we'd love to learn more about how we can help you out.